Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice?
Beetlejuice.
It's showtime.
So that's right. I saw Beetlejuice, and it was fun. Yeah, overall, I think I had a good time with this movie. It was really great to revisit the world that Tim Burton created from the original. Still just as whimsical, still just as dark and funny. The practical effects that made early Tim Burton films so iconic are back and so fun to watch. The cast is also amazing and totally game for this movie. It's very clear that they want to be there, which makes you want to be in the theater that much more. The standout, of course, is Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. He, in a weird way, has aged perfectly into this role. He's still just as twisted, still just as wild, and has plenty of juice left, but he doesn't overstay his welcome. Much like in the original movie, he is in this movie sparingly, which I think works for his character. That all being said, my favorite part of this movie was Catherine O'Hara as Delia Litz. Her arc is really the only one that makes sense given who she was in the original, but now she's given so much more to do this time around. She feels more real, but just as eccentric and hilarious as ever. Jenna Ortega joins the cast of this movie, and really she fits perfectly into this world. I honestly don't think that any other young actor could have slipped into this role without it feeling a little jarring, a little bit like they don't quite belong there, but she blends in there perfectly. She feels really much like an extension of the original cast. And that comment that Winona Ryder made about the reason this film took so long was because they were waiting for Jenna Ortega to be born, it really does ring true. That being said, I was so surprised by how small her role actually is, given how big of a draw she is going to be for this movie. Also, the fact that her storyline had the most potential and was arguably the most interesting but unexplored was also an interesting choice, to say the least. I do want to give a shout out to Arthur Conti, who is also in this movie and in the poster, but just like really tiny. You kind of have to squint to see him. But he is also a new cast member who does a great job in this movie, and I think if Tim Burton ever needs any new cast for the Wednesday season 2 Netflix show, you got him right there. One character that I honestly felt they completely missed the mark on was Lydia Deetz. Winona Ryder does do a great job with what she's given, but sadly, she's not given a whole lot. When we are reunited with her character, she's now hosting a ghost reality show, which is nothing like what her character would be doing because her big thing was that she was against the exploitation of the ghost by her parents, and so it's strange now that she's done a complete 180, and the film doesn't really explain why she is now where she's at. I did enjoy her relationship with Delia, especially because her character as it is now is a lot closer to Delia in the original movie than it is to Lydia. But that, again, it's not really totally explored. And I do think that her character was kind of assassinated. She really is Lydia Deetz in name and outfitting only because that's not the girl we knew, and it's not even an evolved or grown up version of the girl we knew, which was kind of disappointing. Willem Dafoe and Monica Bellucci are also in this movie, and they are great, although their roles are so tiny and so minor to the overall story that it makes you question why they were in this movie at all. And I think this leads me to one of my biggest issues with the film, and that is that it throws so many ideas and so many storylines, but it doesn't really follow through on any of them. And the multiple storylines don't come together in any way that is meaningful, making the film feel more like a patchwork of gags and ideas rather than a cohesive movie. And that's what's so frustrating because somewhere in this chaos of a script, there is a film that could have been great. But instead, we get a film that is fine, that is fun, that is good enough, but falls short of its potential. In the end, I did enjoy it for what it was, but I couldn't help but feel disappointed for what it could have been. I do think this film is going to do great at the box office. It's already tracking to open over 100 million, which is amazing. And I'm so happy for everyone involved in this cast, behind the camera, not the writers. But everyone else, I think that they're doing a great job. And I really hope we do get a Beetlejuice 3 because how can you pass up naming a movie Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice,